I tried to find God and I only found myself. And I went through the whole grief cycle, like anger, frustration, sadness, rage, confusion, shame. You know, you think reality looks this way, but you're viewing it through a stain. I tried to find myself and I only found God.
Welcome to Furlough. I am super excited to have a longtime friend. I mean, it feels like a long time. And Mason, Kuhr, my boy, my brother.
Yes, sir.
It's been a long time coming.
I know.
Every time we have conversations, we go down some rabbit holes, and I genuinely feel like I discover a part more about me. And you, my brother, I'm so excited for this so that we could share with the world our conversations. And we have no idea. We actually avoided speaking to each other leading up to this event so that we didn't leave anything behind.
That's right.
So Mason, if you can, let the people know a little bit about you. Give some context before we jump right into this.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? My name is Mason Kuhr. I'm the founder of the Stampede Network, a holistic performance supplement brand, expanding into other niches now too. So I've been in the branding space for a while. And I've recently, in the past year or so, been on this mission of helping men, especially find God. So it's been
You and me both, brother.
We're on this weird vibe. I don't know what's going on, but I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Just had a retreat down in El Salvador, the first one of many. And after doing that, it was the most aligned thing I've ever done in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm doubling down on that. I got the next one coming up, and really just feeling this calling of helping people connect like deeper to themselves, you know, and everything external happens as a byproduct.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so wild because what you're saying, I mean, it just resonates because I'm doing the same thing. And the fact that I feel like the planet this is the spiritual awakening. It is the direction we're all moving towards, that unity and enlightenment. And it's not weird.
Yeah.
If anything, this is becoming more common. And now, more than ever, I've had more conversations about God in the past year than I've ever had in my life. And I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic school, and now more than ever, God is becoming a presence in everyone's lives.
Yeah, and I mean, you see there's so much chaos and stuff going on too. So, I mean, it makes the polarity happen as well, right? So it's like everyone seems kind of lost, you know? And so everyone's seeking truth. Not really knowing what that is. And you see the pull to the churches and religion, having religious awakenings. And, you know, I feel we're both on this mystical path.
Yep.
It's a deeper understanding, not to say it's like better or worse, but just like a different type. So it has the esoteric feel to it.
Which is funny because you say that you feel a pull to the churches, but I'm feeling more of a push from the churches, if anything, because you know that box where it's like Christianity, Hindu, Buddhist.
Yeah.
Which one are you clicking?
Man, I used to be like, I called myself a Buddhist Jew. I grew up in half like Christian and Jewish. But then I went away from all of it for a while, and then I went down the consciousness rabbit hole after being atheist for a bit.
Yep.
Right. And so that was like around my spiritual awakening time. And so like after doing plant medicine and meditating and experiencing God firsthand, it's like this new lens where I can actually see what's being said in the religion. So it's like after doing ayahuasca and going outside of it, and also like the Kabbalion Hermeticism, I left it to come back with a new lens where it's like now I can actually see what's being said in the verse and have an understanding. And so it's like I could talk to a pastor and have a full-on conversation about the meaning and teach them some things.
Yep.
You know?
It's funny because after reading the Bhagavad Gita, I'm just like...
I haven't read it yet.
Must.
I have it with me. I haven't read it yet,
I could tell you some stuff. It gets me thinking so much. We'll go into a Bhagavad Gita conversation, but like for me, I'm like, is there a Christian Hindu I could check off? And then I go esotericism, and I'm like, other.
Yeah.
Other. It doesn't explain. But when it comes down to the actual churches, it's like reading beyond the veil.
Yeah.
And going past the allegorical tales that they tell you and understanding that it is coded. And once you go down the spiritual path, like you read right through the lines, and it's just such beyond wisdom. And I found reading, you know, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and just finding that overlap, that is just my truth.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when you have the eyes to see, you will see it. Mm-hmm. And there's just that, it's so much deeper than you can even comprehend. And when I was just in Egypt, all right, because I've been on like the Mason World Tour the past year. I went to 11 countries this year, bro.
Crazy.
So I'm chilling for a bit. But when I was in Egypt, one of the temples we went to is the Temple of Osiris. well, yeah, this one's which temple was it? It was not the Temple of Osiris, but the Temple of Osiris, we saw hieroglyphs of like aliens and stuff. They couldn't figure out where it's from. We went into one temple, and it's this whole story of Horus who's being born, right? And so
you're about to unlock some things in me, because I went down the Horus rabbit hole. Horus, Osiris, and us, and
yeah, and his God, who was Isis? Isis was his
wife.
mom. Yeah, so Horus's mom was Isis.
Osiris's wife. Yeah, Osiris and Isis have.
Yeah, Horus was a virgin birth.
Yeah,
bro. And so
the parallels with Christ.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's like the son of a virgin birth, and he's like,
had 12 disciples too. Walked on water, performed miracles.
Yeah, dude.
What?
It's crazy.
And the Holy Trinity, Isis, Osiris, and it's just, you see there is a Trinity throughout.
Yes.
All religions.
Yeah.
And it's that overlap.
And there's a Trinity between all of the beliefs too. So it's like you have the realm of like Christianity and stuff is more like forgiveness and love, unconditional love. And then you have like the Buddhism types. Well, so like the Abrahamic are more that. And then you have the Eastern is more like wisdom and compassion, right? But then the other one that completes the puzzle, which is the one that's not talked about the most, is the mental alchemy realm, which is like Hermeticism, right? Transmutation. And so it's like when you implement all these, it's like you can actually complete the puzzle. And that last one is actually one that helps us embody it in ourselves, right? So it's like we can take these principles of vibration and rhythm and gender, polarity, all these things.
All the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
Baby. Let's go down.
Yeah. And so it's like then you go with the unconditional love of Christianity and what that's teaching you. You can also understand the opposite and what you're experiencing now, and it helps you transmute it into a state of love where you are embodied, and then you know God, right? Because it's like one of my favorite insights was we can't know God in the areas that we don't know peace.
Oof. Yeah. It's one of my favorite things that Eckhart Tolle really brought to my awareness was that, the furniture doesn't make the room. It's the space between the walls that make the room. And it's even in what we speak, these words won't mean nothing if it wasn't for the silence that has between that, and that through nothing and silence. And you find that peace as you speak about, and it's through nothing. You actually find everything. And it took me to realize that I ended up with nothing, that I actually had everything.
Yeah, dude, the space speaks so much louder. I mean, even as you make the point, right? It's just like from a listening perspective, I used to struggle with this so much. I'd want to compensate the silence, but it's like even in just communication and stuff, when you embrace the silence, like your message goes so much further, bro.
Yeah, it's like our brain, it works to say like, there's so many when you said transmutation, I was like, let's talk about the law of perpetual transmutation of energy, and I'm like ready to do that. You said vibration, I'm like, all right, cool, I know where I'm gonna go with this. But I was doing everything in my power to just be present, be in this moment, be authentic, find peace, and like we can co-create this together. And it's just, I feel like this matrix we live, it's all about taking us out of the moment and not truly being active and listening and being comfortable with silence. And so many people it gets them so uncomfortable. And it's just, I love the silence. There's nothing, it's crazy. As an adult now, I see someone at the park, like an old man at the park bench, sitting at the park. I felt bad for him. And I was like,
I get it, bro.
That's me.
Dude, oh man. I used to drown out silence so much.
Like music, scrolling.
Oh my, dude, I'd listen to St. John for like, at 8.
Me too. That was my Spotify rap. That was one of the top listeners.
That's funny. I think it was 2019. Like I was looking at my top artists. It was St. John at like 23 hours throughout the year, and the next person was like 3 hours or something.
No.
I was listening to Monica Lewinsky over and over, bro.
I can't even hit the notes. Like I would always listen to I knew we were the same. Yeah. Same and different.
Oh, bro, I love St. John. It was a vibe.
It was a good vibe. Oh, man. I'll tell you a story. Actually, I went to a concert one time, and I'll never forget, I was with somebody. This girl was like a first date. She just wanted to tag along. Like, all right, whatever. And it ended up being like this date. And you know why I stopped like hanging out? I never spoke to her again. Because I'm in line. And like, because I always get the VIP whenever I go to these. And it had the meet and greet. Yeah. Had the meet and greet. So I was like, I'm going to meet. Like St. John is like, I've been thumping. And This girl did everything in her power for me to like go first, which I was just like, stop, you're forcing this, you're forcing it. It wasn't like you're forcing it. It's just you got to flow with life.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want to go first. I'd rather go like other people go first. She made me go first. I went first, and that's when freaking Apple just released night mode, and the picture came out so bad because like we're indoors in this night mode, and I looked at this, and then they kind of like moved me out of the meet and greet line, and I looked, I'm like, I can't even show people this photo. Like I didn't want to post it. I wanted it for me because I was thumping, and I looked, and I always had like, you know, maybe there's a lesson in there that I could have learned actually.
Yeah, how come you fell into her frame?
Which is funny because like you got me laughing, and I know you're gonna love this little rabbit.
Bro,
hole.
you smile, and I'm like, yo,
know,
vibes are
it's
good.
contagious, but you got me laughing. I literally just wiped a little tear, but
Yeah.
it's so funny now because I every time I wipe a tear, I lick my tears.
Huh?
Oh,
Like
I
a
like it.
cat.
Oh, you're about to learn something.
You
baby.
like a cat, bro.
Yeah, you know why?
Huh?
I've recently discovered through the field of bioenergetics, which is like I'm deep into. It's actually bioenergetics is a field of your voice has information, and through that information, it tells you basically it compares that information through your ORC scan to a perfect scan, and then it's relative to you, and then it creates these drops called infoceuticals that is water with information stored in them that actually serve these parts of your field to restore it.
Huh.
And through that, I mean, it's all subconscious stuff. I'll give you a scan after this. It'll be a fun time. But I found out that like really it led me through the rabbit hole of water and how water can store information.
Yeah.
Water has memory. And if it has memory, it can observe, which is another conversation about the elements in the first level.
Dude, I know. I've seen the stuff where it's like they talk to it and the structure
and they
changes.
freeze it and it crystallines it. And it's fascinating
I got,
stuff.
Soma Vedics.
Of course. I know,
gotta
yeah.
I
You put
got
me on that, actually.
Yeah, they're fire.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So I recently discovered that.
Free plug.
Yeah. Promo code Mason, furlough, whatever.
Yeah,
Oh,
bro,
I
you
guess
better
I was
pay me
back.
after that.
Yeah. So I recently discovered that your tears are actually your body producing liquid that if you lick it, it has information to restore what your body needs. So anytime I cry, lick my tears because your tears are feeding you what your body's craving. Ooh, let that process. And let me throw it out some more. I'm full-heartedly believing that the future of medicine is water. It'll get to a point. I mean, try it.
I mean, it goes with like cell salts and stuff. It makes sense.
Absolutely. Speak to your water. Command it. And it stores memory. So if you go to your water and say, sleep, and say key words like that, that water will act like a melatonin.
So here's my thought, though. If that's going to be the future of medicine, what was the cause of that? Is sound.
Oh, sound healing, yeah. It's It's all It's Nikola Tesla says it.
Yeah.
If you want to think about the universe, think of signs of energy and vibration.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I love this whole I'm about to go into, but like with Christianity and stuff, like just religion in general, it's like, so easy to get caught up in the text of the meaning of life. And it's like, what is the text made of? Word. Right? What is a word? It's literally it's like sound that we put meaning to.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the word of God is a sound. Right? It's a frequency. Right? It's like, we go our whole lives thinking like we can put God and source creator in a box.
Yeah.
It's like the box was made by a sound that we can't even comprehend. It's like you listen to the mosquito repellent sounds, you don't even hear them. It's like we only hear a certain wavelength, and these things still exist outside. It's infinite sound.
Yeah, that's a quote in the Bible. It's "I am the Word. I am."
Yeah, I'm the way, the truth, and the life.
I knew you could finish my sentences.
Yeah, I am that I am, baby.
Yeah, but if you want to put God in a box, you have the personality, which is some say Christ, Vishnu, Krishna.
Yeah,
these that come out, which is funny. You look at Krishna and you look at Jesus. It's like Jesus Christ. It's all the parallels,
dude. Jesus, I'm been like Jesus is.
The most
Yeah.
influential man. We decided the eras. There's BC and AD.
Yeah.
So
you follow it, it works. It's like it's gonna get you there.
Yeah, well, only through him.
I got a
my
verse
father.
at some point I'm gonna pull up for you, bro. It's in Genesis. It has to do with the Peniel.
Oh yeah, I seen that place face to face, and I call that place Peniel.
Yeah, where Jacob wrestles with the man.
Yeah,
It's
when he
Genesis
took a nap on
32:30. Jacob's
Jacob's ladder. Do you want to go down that rabbit hole?
Yeah.
Because do you know what's at the bottom of Jacob's ladder? because it is a sacred alchemy.
Yeah, it's the whole process where
The
you
kunda
send the
and
Christ oil up.
Oh, the Christos,
Yeah.
which is what the whole entire Bible. It actually is a tale that tells this biological process of how to become Christ.
It's a map, bro.
It
Yeah,
is.
to
It
Christ
is.
yourself.
Which is it's so interesting because those 7 seals of revelations are truly 7 wheels, and the wheels are Sanskrit for the chakras. Which you grab Hindu, what they speak about things, and you realize that the Christians were talking about it, but the King James was like, let me just put allegorical. I don't want to give them their power. I just want to give them stories and tell them and think that the kingdom of God is above them, but it's actually within them.
Well, if you look at it's I don't know if it's James. It's where he's talking. Yeah, he's talking to the Pharisees. It's that one. And basically, like the Pharisees, for those who don't know, were like the religious attached at the time, like stuck with the laws and just the book. Here's what you should or shouldn't do. And so they're talking with Jesus and being like, hey, okay, you're talking about this kingdom of heaven. When is it going to come? Where?
It's here.
Right? Yeah. And so he says, but here's the crazy thing. In the King James version says, behold, the kingdom of heaven will not be there, for the kingdom of heaven is within you. But if you look at the modern versions, it says the kingdom of heaven is amongst you. How profound is that? From knowing how people focus their awareness on things, someone who has no clue about like their attention or anything, it literally directs them to an external source of saving.
Wow.
One single word change.
That's all it takes.
It's not even a hot take. It's a fact.
No,
you read it.
Fact, yeah. And you could just check how they change it.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. And the interpretations too are the same way. And it's like, is it literal or metaphorical? It's like
I'm so over Bible studies. Like when you get diehard, I would be a Christian if it wasn't for Christians. Like those people, they it's crazy because every time you gotta
act,
there's
you gotta
this,
be it.
Yeah, there's this oneness, right? And they're very judgmental, and like there's this oneness, and you understand that everything is tapped into the same source. Like ideas don't come from here. That's why cartoons show the light bulb above your head. It's coming from source, which
that's
flows
good.
in.
I like that.
Yeah, and everybody's tapped into the same source. So every time you're interacting with the universe, with the divine creator, the one infinite intelligence. And I ask myself, like, what is God trying to tell me in this conversation? And I'm just like, are you trying to teach me patience? Are you trying to teach me what it is to deal with someone that's radicalized, that these are the people we need to save? And I just, it's challenging.
I used to get like super pissed off about it.
But
then, I mean, I understand now, like most people are just in fear and looking for like meaning.
Yeah.
So it's like clinging on to an idea and a belief of how things should be, but not doing it yourself is just avoidance of the emotions that actually take you through the valley of the shadow of death that you're reading about. Yeah. And so like, I understand it now and I sympathize with it, but it's like unless someone's actually walking the path
it's different than knowing it.
Yeah, and when you know it, it looks nothing like how you think it is, bro. It's like, I mean, I can use the metaphors all day, but it's like Abraham was commanded to leave everything behind and walk through the desert. And it's like, bro, you don't know where you're going. You have no idea what it's going to look like, but when it gets there, you're there.
Yeah, you have to cling on to faith.
Yeah.
Just hope where you're going is the right direction.
Yeah, and it's like what happens after that, it feels like you're skydiving. That's what the past year was for me. Like, I mean, did the ayahuasca, ended up at the top of Kilimanjaro, ended up in some
skydiving. I'm pretty sure also.
No, I did that when I moved to Tampa though.
Gotcha,
so
okay.
There's a ton of lie. And then
you know what's wild? I just want anyone that's listening, like when we met, like I think we met at your rock bottom.
Yeah, that was back when I was in the basement.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad basement to be in, but I was in my parents' basement and had no money, and you did give me like some econ thinking, like
a little shift in perspective.
Yeah, I had no ecosystem understanding. So
and then right there, it just
you plugged me in my first email and Google Ads people, and I had no idea what was happening.
And then all it took is one creative one. It's funny because when I tell your story, I tell people, I'm like, he looked like he just got out of bed and didn't even want to make it.
Dude. I was in my freaking hoodie and underwear.
Yeah, I legit felt like you were just in bed and you're like, I got to make content.
Yeah.
Whatever. Grab this thing that looked like black tar freaking out and like freaking, it looks like a coal you put on a
they call it
hookah.
Shisha, heroin.
It looks like that and you're like, let's do this. Film, talk, benefit, flip camera, put it in my mouth, bite, viral.
Gone, dude. It just changed everything.
Brought millions.
I had so much resistance to it.
I know.
That's why. It's like I didn't want to do the video because I had so much resistance to being.
That
It was
guy.
like embracing a new identity because I'd already lost one, and I didn't want to go through that pain again.
Yeah.
Like subconsciously. That also taught me though too how much like we just push our own gifts away because it was waiting for me.
I know.
It was just waiting.
And it's just like, imagine how many people are out there. All it takes is for just them to do it. With their, like, the treasure you seek is in the cave in which you fear to enter.
Exactly.
And you're standing right outside of it.
Yeah.
And there's no bear. It's literally probably as simple as
It's
pointing
like
the
going to
camera.
Narnia, bro. Like it's not scary. There's no cabinet. You go through. You're in the place you want to be.
That's it.
That's my metaphor for the day.
No, but I mean, I've as much as I've known you, I mean, we've definitely grown close over the years. Like I've seen you kind of fall into this pocket of this identity that you've built for yourself, and I've never seen you more comfortable in your skin.
Well, I've shed it so much in the past 3 months. Like it's been solidified way more in that time. I mean, just relationship growth, self growth, like business. There's been so many things that have fallen out of my life in the past like 3 months. It's been nuts, like crazy, dude. And it's like I've literally had to die and allow myself to die.
Like a phoenix rises from the ashes.
I've laid on my bed for a whole day doing nothing but grieving my old self. And I went through the whole grief cycle, like anger, frustration, sadness, rage, confusion, shame, like lowest of the consciousness scale. And then I kind of came back into some confidence. And then all of a sudden, peace. And it was like this hole in my gut that was like a painful hole, like a pit. It became a space of clarity. And I had insights coming back because I was like, my mind was literally shutting down. I was having short-term memory problems for the past like few months. And I was freaking out, bro. I thought I was like
panic attacks.
No, like I literally couldn't remember things. I couldn't, when I'd read a book,
Was it
I'd
like
forget
you were eating too much tuna, mercury?
Dude, I thought I was getting Alzheimer's or some shit. And so I was like literally shutting, my whole body and mind and everything was shutting down. I wasn't getting insights anymore. So that's how I know when I'm not.
Oh, you were disconnected.
I was completely. But I was also like holding on to what I wasn't able to embrace it and go into the void. And I finally, like, after just being done with stuff, there was one night I was working out and I was hitting like one of the sickest lifts I've ever done in a long time. It was one of those where it's like the hero is back type thing.
Yeah.
But I have this insight come in out of nowhere, and it said it was God for a fact. There's no that source, but it was, you're losing your mind because you're gonna gain a new one. Oof. And I was just like, he's back, baby, but he's different.
And then you went and hit a fucking PR.
Yeah, I was juiced after that, bro. Oh, it was dope.
Like, yo, that was the end of my set, but we're working out legs.
I had Big X the Plug singing Texas, bro. I was like, I'm in Texas, yeah. Let's go. But yeah, it's been, I don't know. You've been through the void, I'm sure, plenty of times.
Oh my God, yeah, no, it's just, and it's crazy because when you have, that mystical transcendental experience, like, like I had this thing where I would deal with loneliness, which is probably subconsciously why I started a community.
Deal with that as in you just didn't like it?
I just felt always alone.
Okay.
Like, no matter what. I was just like, and I went to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny, and I created it's not even a vision board, it's a destiny board. It's like a vision board on steroids, where I'd create all my values and then my away values. And my away value was all the negative things. So like I would make rules for my toward values. So happiness, I could feel happiness every time I smile. Happiness. Easy rules. I can feel happiness every time I see the happiness in someone else. Easy rules to achieve. My away values was, for loneliness, for example, was anytime I feel the false illusion. So I started by saying I could feel this when I have a false illusion that there's no one on this planet that would actually spend time with me, or this, which, like, how impossible is that going to be? Like, there's someone on this planet. Like,
yeah.
You go to a complete random stranger and be like, yo, I'm having a hard time. They'll do it.
Sometimes, bro. I mean, when you are deep into your like mystic path, like,
yeah.
I mean, it can be.
I wasn't even on the mystic path. It was just something.
It was just life,
this was just life, and I built this program, this paradigm that I was born to suffer, and that's what I was doing here, and like
you deserved it.
Yeah, I don't know what it was because I was always giving. I'd give, but I was a naked man who offers you clothes. Do you trust that man? I didn't have that self-love, and I was trying to love others, but it was just, how can you do that if you're not happy yourself? And I went through this I mean, deep, 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 like darkness. And, you know, I hear the spiritual leaders now talking about like, if there's no suffering, there is no enlightenment.
Yeah.
And as I reach my journey, and I truly had my transcendental mystical experience where I was atheist, and then I see God face to face, and I call that place Peniel. Like it was undeniable. I was in the space of a higher intelligence and greatness. And when that happened, time collapsed for me. I saw my whole past and I saw my future all happen. And the only thing close to it is I could compare it to the movie Arrival.
When did this happen?
January 13th, 2024. I can name that day.
Oh, this was the
yes, sir.
Experience?
The come to Jesus
Whatever
moment.
you call it, yeah.
So when this happened, it was like the movie Arrival. Time collapsed, and then I saw everything in my life. And I mean, I studied it. It was, Kundalini awakening and Christos. There were so many different names for this. Amrita is another name. And, during that time, all the dormant neurons in my brain turned on. And
Wow.
and it was electrocuted. I got an EEG, and I'm in the third standard deviation, where an EEG is a device where they plug your brain waves, and they tell it. The guy goes, "You're clearly a happy person." I'm
What's
like,
the third standard deviation?
third standard on the bell curve.
Oh.
Yeah, so the third standard is 99.7%, which I was like,
And what was it measuring? Just how
of other brain,
connected
the
it
people
is?
that they have of like, because they check on high beta, low beta, alpha, theta, delta, gamma, what brainwave percentages each one of your sections are. And he's like, "You're an alpha." He goes, so what they did was they actually asked me questions. So they were like, "I want you to meditate," and they got the brain waves of every section of the brain. And then he's like, "I want you to solve math problems, doing reading comprehension, things like that." So when they did that, my brain was active. Beta. And he's like, "This is the most bizarre thing I see." He's like, "You see here, this is you resting. But when you get an activity, your alpha spikes up." And I'm like, what does that mean? And he goes, "You get more excited. Like you get into more a peace state and happy and joy and bliss when someone asks you to do something." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And he goes, "Yeah, so if you were meditating and then someone wakes you up and be like, 'Hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need to load the car. I need help picking it up.' You would be like, 'Yes, absolutely,' and get excited doing that."
It's like a deeper meditation.
It is. And he's like, "You're very dharmic. Like you're just living your peace." And it's like very,
you're like Rafiki.
Yeah. And I'm just, yeah. And I'm like, this is crazy. I got into tears with this guy. And this guy's like on a Zoom call with me. He's like, "Yo, man, you're not to get weird." I'm like, "Yo, you don't understand. Like, I tried ending my life at one point from the suffering just because the voice was not my ally. Yeah. And now you're telling me I have proof that the path that I'm on and the things that I'm doing, that I figured it out and I'm actually on pay. Like, this is happy. No one would ever believe me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is amazing. I can't wait to show people science to prove that I figured out that you do not need to be miserable. You do not need to think that you're suffering. And when that transcendental moment happened and time collapsed and I used 100% of my brain and I saw my life, I saw my past and I saw my future, and I know, the path is laid before me. I simply need to walk it. Yeah. But when I saw my pass, I literally saw the presence of God.
Wow.
And the craziest thing was,
yes, dude. Oh my God.
You see the trials and tribulations.
I feel that.
And
so
when you
much,
walk
bro.
when you walk that and you look back, you're like, "Fuck, I don't want to change anything."
Yeah.
I love every negative thing that's ever happened to me.
We had what I was talking about to the guy coming up. We had the same experience. It was everything collapse. It was complete collapse. Like everything made sense. It was like every piece connected.
And you're so grateful for every single step that took to get you to that moment. And you wouldn't change a damn thing.
Bro, and it came out of nowhere.
It does. It sneaks up on you like a thief in the night.
Yeah, dude. And I agree with the suffering thing, because it's like I would say first you have to go through suffering to even say that, though. Yeah. Because otherwise you can't get into the elevated state where you can see what suffering actually is.
Yeah.
So it's like the first time I was depressed, I was like, I'm depressed. Yeah. The second time I was depressed, I'm like, I'm in the void. So it's like a different understanding. So it's like this. I could say I was depressed for a few months, past month, like with all this stuff going on, if I was viewing it from the old lens. But now I just see it as like, I'm in a void where my identity is shedding. So my identity has to drop into a depression to come up into a new one. Like it has to literally melt away.
Interesting. I'll tell you, like hearing you say that, I'm like, man, I can't. It would be impossible for me to experience that sadness. I don't get. I got angry one time since that experience happened, and for some reason, I'm about to turn at a green light, and this lady's crossing the thing, and freaking hits the car, and I'm like, it's what do you do? Like, why you? And I was like, you got me. I got a little angry, but I caught myself quickly, and I was like, no, like I'm not. And it's so wild because I just observe, and I observe the feelings that I have, and I have this strong belief that a child of God feels everything but sadness, but despair, but fear.
I don't know, bro. Jesus wept. It's the shortest line in the Bible.
Yeah, what did he wept for?
I forget the context, but he was crying. And it
are
shows,
they
though,
not tears of joy?
it was tears of sadness. It was tears of sadness.
I know, but it's all relative. I mean, the times that I look back at the times that I was depressed, and I'm like, I wouldn't change that, and I'm happy for that. And we're rewriting our past,
bro. But like, here's the thing, though, is like I did a shroom trip not long ago. Airbnb
medicine, baby.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
Yeah.
Like, I think it should be not taboo anymore. It's the original medicine.
Psilocybin defrags the brain.
It's the original medicine.
Yeah.
You know, but like I was in this Airbnb solo, and it was synchronous, but they had this whole music studio in there. So I had no idea, but I go in there, I'm like, yo, I'm about to go off. They got the mic, they got the guitar, they got the piano. So I'm like in here feeling like John Legend or something. And I sing this one song, bro. Gratitude by Brandon Lake. Really good song. And after the last note, I like fall to the floor and I'm just like bawling on the floor, like tears and stuff. I haven't released in such a long time. And it was sadness, but I had the awareness to see how good it was for me. So I was so grateful and happy for the sadness I was experiencing. So I wasn't trying to avoid it.
Is that sadness?
It was sadness. It was sadness and grief and all types. Like, sadness only comes from shedding. Like, sadness is the best thing because we're shedding identity.
I get that, but you see, the way I look at it is you have.
I'm not saying stay sad forever, sad boy.
No, I get it, but you have when I say I speak of my spirit. And when I say my body, I speak of my body, which is, it proves that I am not my body. So my body can experience this sadness, this grief, but I, who observes that, am so happy that it's going through that because I know that is something, because like it's going back to sound are waveforms. Life is waveforms. It's cyclical. Everything is contraction, refraction.
So you're speaking from the big self,
the high self.
Okay,
who are we?
So
who are you?
We got to translate this. Because this is something that
I know. This is obviously deeper. You know, when I have these conversations, people are like, "Oh, I think we're speaking to an audience."
Yeah.
Look, I'm speaking to the smartest person in the room, and that person right now is in front of me. You know, and I know you get it. And if those that don't get what I'm saying, spark conversation.
Yeah, I would say, like, for context though, just to give them, it's like it's a different lens that you have to like see. It's almost like backing up.
Yeah.
I call it backing up.
No, you see the macro.
You see the macro, you zoom out, bro, and
experience the micro, but be in the macro.
Yeah.
So understand, like, I kid you not, that movie Arrival, where that person became omnipresent.
I'm like my pose right now is like dadded up.
You good.
Got the leg crossed, my hands on my hip. I'm like, yo, what's going on right now?
So, but the thing I found with that moment that I told you where time collapsed and I became present is that there is no past, there is no future. Like, everything happens in the now. Past is former now. Future is upcoming now.
Yeah.
And all this is like you're literally coexisting with your future self because the future happens in the now. So all these moments, like, I understand, it's just sequential nows happening. It's the eternal now. So when I see this moment of sadness, this too shall pass. I know what follows this.
Yeah.
And if the sadder I am, the happier I'll follow. Right? It's just the happier you are, the same thing.
But there was a point you didn't know that, right?
Oh, of course. I wasn't born with this wisdom. I had to go through the trials and tribulations to discover it.
That's what I've realized. Like, the hardest, I've done all these crazy things, and the one thing I've learned the most is literally, like, in El Salvador, it just proved it for me. And in March, too, I spent the week with this guy in Scotland who was the first, like, man I ever met. He's, like, embodied and clean internally. And I'd look at him in the state I came. I was like youngest person there by far, but I'd look at him and just all types of emotions would come out, like get triggered, get anxiety to even speak, like sadness, like all types of things. And it showed me how much all we have to do is feel our emotions fully.
That's what it is to be human,
bro. And in El Salvador, I had some one-on-ones the last day. I packed them on to the last day because I just couldn't fit all of them before. I had 7 in a row. all of these, like pretty much all of these men broke down in tears, bro. After like 15 years of not
ever
being stuck, dude. And it was, I don't know what the gift is other than I can like feel it.
Empathic.
Yeah, no, and I'll go in and I can hypnotize them in a way, but I'll introduce them to the past and walk there with them in their brain, and I can see it visually. And as I walk with them, I can feel almost like that game that you see in like arcades where the light goes back and forth and you stop it and then you stack it up and it gets faster. And so it's like I'll be talking with them and I feel this like tension point, and it's like, we're going to dig into this. I catch it, and then we dig a little more. It's like, oh, we're going deeper. And it feels like there's this point, depending on the emotion, where either I get rage or like tears are about to come out of me, and it's like turning a key. And as soon as I feel that, I'm like, oh, they're about to release. And it's just like, like breaking down. And it's so much of like, wow. They're like, wow, I didn't realize how much I was holding on to this. Like, you can't see the truth. Like, most people see reality as this version of truth, but through like foggy glasses. You know, you think reality looks this way, but you're viewing it through a stain.
Yeah.
And it's like you don't even know what reality looks like. You have to get rid of your stain inside of yourself and let it clear out before you even know what the truth is, because your version of truth is not true. It's not, because you don't know what's actually true in yourself. You're holding on to lies, and you've made it your truth.
Yeah. And every truth is a different truth. And, you know, when you were speaking about kind of tuning in with that person, do you know what was happening in the sense that, like, you've been in love before, right? Obviously, you've experienced being in love. And when you've been in love, you've had those telepathic moments, right? Where you're like, oh, I know exactly what she wants to eat or something. Like,
yeah, our auras are coming together.
Do you, like, the reason why that telepathy happens, which you experience with these gentlemen, is that when you're in love, you're in that frequency. And both of you guys, especially at the end of the trip, because if you did that in the beginning of the trip, it would have been a completely different experience.
For sure.
But when you spend all that time and have all these experiences, and it builds up to this final convergence, this pinnacle moment where you're both genuinely in love with each other, and because you're seeing each other for who they are, you get on the same wavelength, and it's all energy. And as you're moving, you're feeling that, and you're like, oh, I see the tension. And when you identify that tension, something within them releases, because there's something mystical about us. And like, as humans, we have been, like, we're somewhat brainwashed to believe we came from monkeys.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, we are divine creatures, and our powers are we are just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
And what we are learning and discovering about ourselves, and I truly believe that we are the almighty infinite creator living as individuals, right? As we are the parts of the sum. And as that, we are slowly, our purpose here is to know thyself. And as we know thyself and I discover, we'll end up learning more about what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
Which we haven't even reached.
And even saying that, bro, it's so hard to, you can only really say it to people that understand what you're saying. Because it's like, I can go to someone and be like, I am God. And they're like, what did you just say?
Dude, blasphemy!
It's like, no, it's not like that. It's like when a guru says the meaning of life is happiness, it's way deeper than what you're even hearing. It's like, you don't know what the happiness is they're talking about. It's like a deep, serene peace and fulfillment.
Yeah.
And
it's joy. And like I tell you, I'm like, happiness is fleeting. You can buy happiness.
Yeah.
You can't buy joy.
No.
It's not outside, it's inside.
For sure.
And you know what? It's definitely not in the past and the future. And too many people live in the familiar past and try and find the predictable future based off the familiar past. And they're living in this 3D realm trying to figure out everything that they're separate from. And it's like, when you get into this present moment and you realize there is a oneness, and you go freaking hug a tree. It's so wild. These hippies were right the entire time. All you need is love. Make love, not war. Yeah. And like, man,
minus nuking their brains to infinity, but they could do it sober.
Yeah. You don't need exogenous stuff to actually reach these new heights, which we are discovering now more than ever.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I do believe that there is a purpose for drugs in this world, where they do kind of accelerate, because like the drugs, I do believe everything that happens through, you know, psychedelics that can be accomplished within ourselves, you know. And I've gone through deep in a meditation, and I've seen fractal patterns that I surrender to, and I get information from that. And I'm just like, what happened? I felt like I was on mushrooms, which is like, it's crazy, because I think that the psychedelics is just showing us that this is what happens when you unlock your full potential.
Yeah, no, I mean, all the natural, like the plant stuff, it's the OG medicine.
Yeah.
It's the original God medicine.
Of course.
It's not until people come in and try and take it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Because everything's like, just take it to the extreme.
Oh my God! Don't get me started on these ayahuasca gummies that they have. The people are releasing.
Bro,
I got an ad for that. I'm like, what are you doing?
I don't even want to see it.
People are like commercializing. Like I'm not a fan of the chocolate
Spiritual
psilocybins.
tourism
Like
type shit.
no,
yeah.
you got to respect the medicine because
Yeah.
this is what God gave, and like you need to understand, like communicate.
They
with
really
this stuff.
make that?
You haven't seen the
curl.
aya gummies?
No, I'm like, I spent a whole month clearing myself to become a plant out of honor to be with it.
I know.
That was the crazy experience ever.
I can't wait. I have my plant ceremony soon, and it's so funny because they send me the preparation, and I'm like, I do this every day.
Where are you going?
Nimacaya,
Where's that?
Peru.
Oh, you're going to Shipibo land.
Yeah, baby.
You're going to the
because
OG.
So
wow, you're
let-
gonna
let-
have
let-
crazy
let me-
energy, bro.
Let me explain something to you. So,
Yeah.
as we all have these chakras, these wheels, these energy the 7 seals, right? The cerebral spinal, we have hundreds of centers in our body, these chakras, and the cerebral spinal centers are the most important. The planet Gaia has its own centers. The planet originally was in Tibet, but when Tibet had the issue with China and China invaded, then the actual crown chakra of the planet shifted, and it actually followed the Dalai Lama, and I hope I'm saying this absolutely right. It actually shifted and went to India. We followed the Dalai Lama, and now it has shifted to Peru, and we're gonna see
The
crown chakra of the planet.
Wow.
Yeah, we're gonna see Peru. Like, I mean, Tibet was the spiritual capital of the planet. Now
That
it is
Makes
Peru.
so much sense why
Yeah.
the energy's going that way.
And it's in Andes Mountain and like bridged to something else close by. And I don't know for certain, but Peru is
That's
definitely
like exact coordinates.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it all is. It's crazy. Glasgow's a great part.
Bro. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew. I mean, I know Earth has chakras. Was the U.S. like the mouth, the throat?
I think it's Arizona to be. I could pull it up.
I thought it was at one. I was like, it makes so much sense why there's so much media here.
As above, so below. Microcosm, macrocosm. We have centers. They have centers. The planets. Like I sometimes it's crazy because I don't know this, but I look at the planets. I'm like, you look at the 7 planets. We're the 4th planet, right? We're the 3rd planet. Mercury, Venus, Earth. And then the Mars is fifth.
Bro, if I was,
but
my 3-year-old self would be like, nah,
but the crazy part is if you see the centers, the chakras are a roadmap or a blueprint. And as we move up densities, you go from the first, which is survival. Like most people, kids are innocent. Kids are very high conscious until they hit puberty. And then they go straight to the bottom center.
Yeah.
And then they discover they become super horny. And then they end up through life. We want a journey. Just like Tony Stark. He was a philanthropist. He was a playboy hedon. And then what did he do when he died and saved everybody? He died at his heart chakra. But you look at someone like Doctor Strange, he mastered all the chakras. And what does he do? He moves through portals and through dimensions. And he actually is the master of time with the Eye of Agamotto, which is so crazy. Like even movies, even Hollywood, all these things, they're all tapped in to the same source, which everyone is channeling. And these ideas that they're channeling, they become mediums to show us what's possible. Which is another reason why I'm a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because I'll tell you, what Loki did is introduce children to the concept.
A fan of it.
Oh, for real. They introduced children to the concept of multiverses.
Yeah.
And like there's infinite realities happening right now. Out of every outfit you could have wore, you picked that shirt.
Yeah.
And if you think about every step, you could
I
have
picked it because I was like, yo, this is the vibe with Joe.
Yeah, I picked this one because it got a heart.
Ironically, it's a crying sun.
Oh, that's great. You know what they say about the sun? That it obviously resonates with men because most of them plan seasonally every quarter, right? Most of your goals are quarterly goals. Women, on the other hand, are like the moon because they plan like their cycle every 28 days. Literally.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. The sun is electric, baby. The moon is magnetic.
That's right.
There's some power in the sun.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, dude, it's like when you see polarity in general of men and women in society, it's so out of sync.
It is. No, but the divine women are coming up. It's their time to shine.
Yeah, and it happens like in direct correlation to men stepping into that. Like
I know.
It triggers the polarity because otherwise they fill the. I have this law. I call it the law of masculine filling the blank. Right? It's something women do, where if there's no masculine energy in the room, they fill in the blank. right? So it's like they come in with this masculine energy, and it's like as soon as you come in, you're actually like aligned as a guy. It's not like the alpha Chad type thing, but that's what I've experienced is when I'm actually aligned, boom, it's just complete feminine drop. And that's been hard for me. That's been the hardest thing for me, dude.
It's so funny when I had my experience, I would say my come to Jesus, my God moment that I saw his presence. Like I felt like I finally conquered my both hemispheres of the brain, and I've actually used them, and like my masculine and feminine, I've now understood how the power of each of them.
Yes.
And I've been very in touch with my man. I watch movies not from my mind, like not from my third eye, where right here pocket.
Yeah.
I watch them from my heart, and like they'll, some movies they'll build up until the climax, and then like it's a sad part, and I didn't expect it, and I'm in tears. I'm like, man, I can't tell you when did I ever cry in a movie. I used to watch movies from the perspective of the person filming, like if I was the cameraman and I see the set. So I was always out of the movie.
Yeah.
And now with this like new shift of awareness, I put myself in it and I live these stories and I live these experiences, and they become my truth. Because what's the difference of a memory of an experience? It's the emotional charge, right? But experience without an emotional charge is wisdom. With that, I'll let you simmer on that one for a bit. I don't know where this shit's coming from too, bro. I never said that in my life. She's coming through me, baby. We're tapped in.
I want to add on to that.
Go for it.
I had an insight where belief, as soon as it's experienced, becomes a knowing, and that's when you can only be gifted the gift of wisdom.
Belief,
as soon as you experience a belief dies, and it transforms into a knowing. So you can no longer believe. And that's when you gain wisdom. So the only way to gain wisdom is to live your belief.
Oh, let me just, I'm going to go back to the planet thing, because I spoke about Earth being the third. And I believe that we are, as society and planets, we are in the third chakra, right? The third center, which is power. But the only way power, we see it and when it's realized and it's at its full potential, is when we connect chakras from the one above it. So yes, when you can go.
Say that one more time.
The only way we could ascend these centers is when we connect it to the one above it.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, so the third center, which is about power, we could only feel power when we do it out of love. So you gain that power, but you do it in a space of love. We can only feel love when we speak it, right? And then when we speak it, there is a sense of feeling. It's the intuition of what you speak. It's the truth. I feel this is the truth. I believe it. But when you reach that highest level, this roadmap, this blueprint for the universe is just a university, and we are about to attain graduation and move from the third to the fourth and become in a state of love. And that is a second coming. I'll tell you, it's a state of consciousness, and there's a rising of vibration. But when we,
this is hermetic principle to a T, bro.
But the way you reach that highest is when you move beyond the feeling, and you move to the seventh, which is a knowing, and it flows right through you. Yeah. And when you get that, I mean, moments, like I kind of just had that, and then I caught it, and I was like, haha, and I snapped back to reality. But it's like, it comes at you in a state, like you said it, in a state of grace.
Yeah.
Before we got here talking about
pure grace,
I
bro.
know. I never understood that word until I started living it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Wow. No, and I found the only way to gain grace is to first give it to yourself.
I know. And it's like you don't need to be so hard on yourself. I found grace when I stopped forcing things. I used to sheer will things to existence. This is my goal. Okay, cool. Adderall, coffee, like try and make things happen myself. And like, I let go and let be. I surrender and watch life unravel before me. And things just, it's so crazy. I get every front row parking spot. It's so nuts. I don't try. I look at the time. I'm like, oh, that's the time to go.
Cosmic VIP, baby.
Yeah, it's absurd how things just like unravel and fold before me. And it's like, I don't even rush through life. I see people kind of rushing. I'm like, why are you rushing? There's no need.
I'm still, I teeter-totter in that, but I feel way more like slow now. That's nice.
And that's the way to be. Because and the thing is, the reason why, it's not that I'm in a rush. It's just that I'm present. And I'm in this eternal
Even
now.
in the rush, if you can be present, bro.
Oh, no. When you're in a rush, it'll slow you down. I learned that. When I'm like, I'll get there exactly when I'm get there, because that's the time I get there. That's when I'm supposed to be there. If I was supposed to be there earlier, I would have been there earlier.
See, my experience has been different, where there are times where I wouldn't call it rush. I guess it's more urgency and just speed. you know, and I am complete present in both of those moments. And like, had I not been urgent or with speed in a certain thing, I would not have had the alignment or circumstances come that were meant for me, that allowed me to drop deeper into the slowness too. So it's like, I feel I needed to experience the opposite.
I agree with you on this, because I've had times where I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go a little faster and change through lanes, but I was doing that with grace.
Yeah.
Versus other times where I was like, move. Come on, man. Give me, you guys just go. Let me. And I would do that, and the other car would slow down, and I'm like, I'm working against the universe. I'm like I'm trying to use matter against matter and use force against force, and it's just like, just be and let be and surrender to it. And like, I caught that last time. I was like, this is so funny. Yeah. Like, it's the only traffic are the 4 people that are just blocking 4 lanes going the speed limit, and I'm like, I can't pass, and it's just. I'm like, this is life kind of telling me, like, relax. It's not that serious. You'll be there when you be there. And I was like, you know what? And I caught that. And even now that I talk about it, I knew it happened when it did. I never spoke about it afterwards. But ever since that day, I'm just like, just relax, man. It's not that serious. Just be.
You know, it just came to me. I'm sitting here, and all I can think is, what the fuck are we doing here? And it's so profound.
It is.
It's like, there is no meaning. Yeah, unless you create it.
That's the meaning, right?
That is the meaning.
But I think the meaning is truly to discover who you are. Someone asked me, how do I find God? And I go, find yourself. Go learn. Go deep. And once you go and do personal development, read books. Because when you read books, you read stories. And as you read those stories, they can become lessons within yourself.
There's a quote I heard. It was like, I tried to know God deeper, and I only found myself. I tried to know myself deeper, and I only found God. Yeah.
Nice. Just want to pause there and just enjoy that. Do it one time for the people in the back. One time.
You want it again?
I want it again.
Y'all want it again?
Replay it.
You want a little encore from M-Core?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I tried to find God, and I only found myself. I tried to find myself, and I only found God.
Oh, God bless. God bless you, John.
There you go.
That's the pod, everybody.
I would bow if I could.
We're out. That's it. They like and subscribe.
That's right.
No, for real. No, we just getting started,
That's
brother.
like some Rumi stuff going on.
Oh, man.
I love Rumi.
Oh,
my whole Instagram feed is Rumi.
Yeah.
It's Rumi and Bob Marley. It's you.
I try. Now mine right now is Bashar.
Really?
I've
something about Bashar. I'm a little like, this is interesting.
No, I'm big on the channelers. I know.
Really?
I realize that, like, we're not my tear. We're not linear beings. Yeah, we're not linear beings living a linear life. We're dimensional beings living a dimensional life. And once I understood that, I was like, okay, cool. We can have communications with dimensional beings. I don't really have those conversations with higher dimensional beings. I've had moments where I was like, you know, like Archangel Michael dropped the word at the right time, and I'm like, whoa, who are you? Come back. And I just like knew it was Archangel Michael. I had a moment where I was actually, oh, this was wild. I didn't tell you this. Oh, you're gonna love this, man. I flew through the freaking dimensions, and before I actually attained, I went to the Akashic records.
So you flew. Hold on. What's some context?
No, I was in a deep meditation.
Okay,
everything is non-local. I'm moving through the dimensions. I'm usually in the 4th dimension, which is the void, no time, and then I move into the 5th dimension where I become every time, everywhere, everybody, everything, and I'm connected to oneness, and I'm in a peace. But then like I move to the 6th dimension, and I'm like, whoa, which was like a lot higher vibration. And I'm like, okay, surrender. Like, just don't do anything, just be. And then I moved even higher, and I was in a room. But like I looked around in the room.
And you're sober?
Yeah, I'm in a room. I'm but I just felt this unconditional love in this room that I was like, this is where I just knew, I felt the presence of all the angels. And it was so crazy because
Wow.
I was at, and then right after that, I went to the Akashic Records, saw this crazy supercomputer, which was everything of all the history. I was like,
yeah, it's like interstellar wormhole.
Yeah, that's the 5th dimension. But when I
Where
got
they're
out of
moving
it,
through times?
moving through time and experiencing space, because space is collapsed through time. That's, yeah. Which it's
Wait,
just
so,
like that.
okay,
It's all
so
fractal patterns.
What was the difference in 6? Was just the beings?
It was the room just shifts, like it changes, but it was just the space and the energy, Like you're moving during those meditations, like you're shifting through areas, and then you lock in this area, and then you just kind of move, like just move and just teleport in a sense. That's what it is, because it's non-local. You're not moving through space, right? Because like if you think about three-dimensional, a three-dimensional space, I am one point of consciousness here, and I need to be another point of consciousness there. I move through space to experience time, right? Most people try and move through space faster, and they experience less time, and that's why everyone's in a rush. But when you go into higher dimensional, which we're dimensional beings, we experience time, which is how we move through time, right? And that's how we experience space, which you aren't moving. It's non-local. You sit still in a singular place, and you move through time.
Do you know how long was your meditation? You know?
Like an hour. This one was like an hour.
Dang, bro. You're moving.
Yeah. It was full moon. Yeah. But so this happened, and it was crazy because like I was in the room with the archangels. It was a simple room, nothing crazy, and I knew it. But then when I went to a Joe Dispenza retreat, he starts talking a story of how he was like, I was in a conference room similar to this, and I remember seeing this being, and I would think, wow, you're ugly. And then the being was like, you're not that good looking yourself. And when he said that, I told the people around me the story that I had, and they're like, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, the angels are in rooms like this. Like Joe was talking about the higher dimensional beings. He's like, yeah, they were in a conference room like this. And it's like, do you think angels meet in some fairy little area? No, they just meet in a normal room.
Yeah. Oh, my, yeah.
Which is so profound to me. And I'm like,
they're chilling. They're
chilling. They sit on a couch and a sofa, feet on the table. I'm like, this really is the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
And if you choose to call this place the living hell, you will experience hell.
Yeah.
But this planet, I kid you not, the day I made that decision that I live in heaven, oh my God, heaven started blessing me. And I started the synchronicities.
How did you make the decision? Because most people struggle with it.
I shifted into the timeline.
How?
By changing my perspective. Like, your outside is a reflection of your inside. Mm-hmm. So if I'm depressed and I'm sad and I think everyone's against me, guess what? Everyone's against me.
Yeah, dude.
Because he who says he does and who says he doesn't are both right. And who am I to judge? So by saying, I am loving, I am being, and every single person around me is God, and God is trying to tell me something to better my life, to help me and bring closer to everyone around me, that's exactly what I see and interact with. Right? Yeah. So by living as a child of God and knowing that all of you are my brothers and sisters, and we are all intricately one.
Yeah.
This is heaven.
Dude, these insights come so naturally with, like, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So you just got to be you fully. And it's like life is so tantric. This was a great lesson I learned.
It's all energy.
Yeah, it's like life is tantra in nature, not yoga. We don't have to really yoga ourselves to be God. Like, all we have to do is allow life to live through us. And that brings you the experiences from what I've been learning. And I've embodied it, so I just know it's fact and it's just true, is life is bringing us experiences that make us feel certain things, and all we have to do is match our awareness to that moment and allow ourselves to feel it. And as soon as you do that, you start creating this clarity that's like, if you saw yourself as a victim, before, it's like the world is against me or overpowering me, and you allow yourself to feel that feeling of like getting screwed over in a deal, right? And you feel the emotion. Eventually, one, you forgive it, but two, you have this new lens where it's like you can no longer even fall into that frame anymore because you've healed this wound by feeling it. I was trying to rhyme there. You feeled it to healed it.
Hey.
Yeah, there you go.
No, it really is. And even when bad things happen to me, like when the traffic happens to me, I'm just like, okay, there's something happening here. Yeah. Maybe I'm in that traffic because if I was going 80 miles per hour, I'd get hit. Maybe that bad thing happened to me now so I could lose a little versus end up losing a lot. Or maybe that bad thing wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Maybe that person genuinely needed it and it helped more people than it hurt me.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm a part of the sum. So.
See, I love that too, but dude, there was one though where I was in the Miami airport and they were doing their Miami airport stuff and I had to Uber to Tampa from there. So that was a little like, yeah, I'm not happy.
Well, you made a driver very happy.
Yeah, for sure. But
what's that drive?
They did whatever.
Oh, American Airlines reimbursed you?
Yeah, in a way. Yeah, kind of.
What's that Uber cost?
I think it was like $400.
Yeah, I'm like, man, what would if someone paid me to drive to Tampa? I'm like, that's it.
You know what they gave me?
A food voucher?
Like travel points.
Wow.
And it was not many.
It wasn't $400 or
No, it wasn't.
No,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
But either way, like, yeah, there's still like a human side to it. You can't be perfect all the time. You know?
I mean, but we're not. It's what the imperfections is what makes us so perfect.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, embracing it.
Embrace those imperfections. You know, and it's like, I don't know. I look at some art pieces, and it's like the thing that makes it somewhat a little messed up that makes it so great.
Yeah.
My friend has an Aaron Kai painting, and like Aaron Kai is known for these like swoops and woos. But he tells me, he's like, I'm so mad because he messed up and there's one little drop of paint there, and I'm like, that's probably the only painting he did that has a drop there. What? I'm like, that makes it unique.
Yeah, my mom gave me this guitar, an Alvarez. It's the imperfect collect. So each of them is like
Slightly
99.9% perfect.
Aren't we all?
They're all unique in some way.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. Have you ever like even?
That's your personality.
Yeah, but exactly. Think of the people that you've genuinely loved in your life. Like, I can tell you, the most things I loved about them is like what makes them quirky, what makes them like what they do.
Like, you're hella
that
weird.
annoys
I
me.
love you, bro.
I know, man. But yo, weird's a new normal. Embrace it. Be it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the people that aren't in your life, they're not supposed to be in your life.
Yeah.
So don't get mad at it.
100%.
Even with this conversation, I'm like, I tell people when they come in, I'm like, yo, don't put expectations. If five people watch this, those are the 5 people that need to watch this.
Yeah, we're going through like a live acid trip right now.
I know, huh? Buckle up, guys. The dose is about to kick in. We're out here. I knew it was going to be like this, though.
I knew it was, too.
I know. It's just been a hell of a journey with you.
Yeah.
It really is, though. Every time we have the convergence, you know?
Yeah, there was a point when...
I could tell you a point. I don't. What are you
when you came
say?
to Tampa?
I was going to say the time after that where you're like, man, looking at you now, you're so high vibrational. You were such low vibration in Tampa.
Yeah, dude. I was kind of feeling that.
But I felt like I was high at the time.
I don't know what happened. Maybe it was, I don't know. But it's just like, I look at it now, and I'm like, yeah, we're just kind of going at different, all over, whatever. And then you end up at a point where you're like, yeah, here, we're matching a frequency right now.
Oh, match it, baby.
And maybe at some point it does it again. But it's like, it just kind of rolls.
Keep raising it.
Yeah.
That's it. And it's so crazy because like I found that the more I learn and the more I discover, and I'm like, there's levels to this. And I hit that highest level and I broke through and I finally get to the top of the level. I'm like, oh my God, there's a whole new set of staircases.
Yeah.
And it resets you and you go from, not knowing to discovering to kind of understanding to knowing. And then you're like, oh, next level. You know nothing.
Yeah, bro. Oh, my Lord.
Restart from the bottom.
Yeah, I really don't know anything.
It's so cyclical. It's the hero's journey. And the hero's journey, it's like ingrained in everything because stories are everything.
Yeah.
It's how those oral traditions, those stories are
It's the
passed
only
by.
way, yeah. I mean, that's why Jesus spoke in parables. It's just like, it's the only way you can comprehend the incomprehensible.
I know. It's what's funny because when I had my moment and I had my transcendental moment where I used 100% of my brain, it was so wild because
The limitless moment.
it was literally limitless where I was giving prophecies. Like I was foreseeing things that my friends were just like, how is that possible? But I just had this knowing, right? Through the crown, it was open. And I will never forget that my friend was like, oh, he would say like, what's going on? And I'm like, all will be revealed soon. And like, I'm speaking in parables to them. They would get upset. And afterwards, I'm like, why was I speaking so mysteriously? But then those who want to find will go out of their way and seek it.
Uh-huh.
But the ones that don't, like there's no point in telling them. And going back to Jesus and his parables, like I understood why. Because I could lead you to water, but I can't force you to drink.
Yeah,
and
and
if
it's like, how do you even think? You can't think of something at a higher dimension unless you lower the dimension in communication. That's a good communication rule right there. Someone better take notes on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it, right? And it's all shifting. And like even something I've learned with it's spiral dynamics, which is the levels of consciousness in which we go. And I've mapped them to the centers. And, we go through these stages in life: survival, tribal, ego, order, success, community. And then it goes from I am to we are. But every time you go, it swings back. But when you reach to the highest level, you realize that you become this spiral wizard. And you can actually go and be, when you're with your wife, you go into more of a, tribal. But when you're at work, you could be more success. And when you're with your friends, you could probably be more ego. And when you're with your squad, your community, you could be more green, which is community. And it's about being able to be dynamic and adjust to situations, because like you are truly a product of your environment. And if you're surrounded by low vibrational beings, it's like you can possibly, yes, transmute their energy and raise them. But the average of the 5 people, there's a very high probability that they'll transmute you.
It depends, I guess, how also too high you are on the scale. You know, like one person living fully in love and truth,
It could impact thousands.
hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
That's what Jesus was. It's
Exactly.
like you're fully, truth's higher than love. That's pure authenticity. You're in that. It's like you literally can change the entire world. So, you know, I feel too, I hear what you're saying with that. I feel too, if you're in like a certain environment and you're actually like embodied and rooted and grounded in truth, your aura is so big, it's just like washes all this stuff away like a supernova around you.
Yeah.
You know, people can't, it's been weird that, you know, since I've been down here, bro.
It's dark energy.
It is dark, yeah. But what I was going to say is like, I go to these networking events,
Getting pitched by realtors and insurance agents.
Yeah, we just talk about these things. I'm like, do you even know who you are?
Oh, no, you can't do that here.
No, but I do. And, you know, what happens is like, as soon as I stop just playing small and I just own, this is a great lesson for anybody. As soon as I just like own what I know is true, my experience, and just like sharing my story, bro, everyone is encapsulated.
Yeah.
And like in business, I don't have to do business because it just happens on its own by me sharing the truth.
Of course.
Living, being the product, being the service. You know, like being.
It's being. No, you don't need to push. It's pull.
Yeah.
And it's, as you stated, it's just like speak your truth, and the people that need to listen will listen.
Yes.
But too many people are just like,
and even the people that don't want to listen,
even
the people that don't want to listen are still listening by choosing not to listen.
Yeah, but the ones that aren't supposed to listen, they're not there.
Yeah.
You know, so the audience that you have, they're there. But
and it's not personal. You know, I used to take that personal.
Oh, you can't take anything personal.
See, I didn't. There was a point I didn't know that.
I know.
You know, now I understand. I'm like, maybe they just aren't ready to encounter that in themselves.
It's not about you. It's never been.
That's what. Yeah, it was hard for me to learn that.
It's just so crazy because you're the center of your universe.
Yes.
Like
the universe.
Yeah, the universe, which is so wild, but it's like the inverse because it's all within.
That's good.
Oh.
Wow, that's good.
Oh, damn, I hit him with it. I'm
like
gonna
that.
get at least a couple. I'm gonna get a couple more of those with you. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it all happens within. It's wild, shifting the perspective that it's not about you. And like, yeah, obviously the external is a reflection of the internal, but all these people are going through things. And I've said this before. I go, you know, you are your intentions and beliefs, but the world perceives you as your thoughts and behaviors. And every single person on this planet, I ask them who you are, will say a different thing. Your parents ask them both, they'll say you're different. And guess what? None of it matches who you think you are.
Yeah.
And if I ask you today and I ask you next month, you're going to give me another definition most likely.
Yeah.
Until you reach that point that you understand who you truly are. And it's like, you said it, you know, not many people can be at that energetic level where they can transmute a room.
Yeah.
But that's our potential. That is our power. And we need to step in our power, our divinity. And that, I truly believe, is this next wave that we're going to experience in humanity and mankind.
Yeah. I mean, bro, I used to try and be understood so much. And it wasn't until I stopped trying to, do that. But like I was struggling with understanding myself. As soon as I stopped trying to understand myself, I fully understood myself. It's like I can't define the infinite.
Yeah. Especially not with these 3-dimensional words. You're beyond this. Yeah. Yeah, give me my water. I'm thirsty. Where's my water? No. You got right there with your right hand. Okay. You're killing me, brother.
Hey, bro, it's like that. The SpongeBob where he's under his future.
I'm gonna spill my water out. It's like, chill a second, bro.
That's gotta be a clip right there.
Oh man,
going full retard, baby.
You never go full retard, base. You never do it.
Oh man, that's good.
Oh man, so Where do we take this from here? What deep rabbit hole are you going into? Or where is life taking you? Where do you see yourself moving? What's your, if you want to talk your ikigai, where do you see society shifting? What trends do you see?
My ikigai is I'm the guy.
Hey.
Well, I mean, I got the retreat stuff, but like since I've been down here, I've treated this, I'm like Trump hand motioning. I've treated this so much like an experiment of how deep I can just be in myself. Because every time I come to Miami, I kind of feel like I'm in Candyland. No,
Not kidding, a candy
no
store.
lie, bro. It's just, it's weird. And so I'm treating this trip like this experiment of how deep can I actually just be with myself fully.
Gotcha.
You know, and like whether that means pissing some people off or like walking away from certain deals or like hanging out with people and just like letting things fade away, but fully from a place of just like knowing I'm in this like rooted groundedness in myself. So I've been doing this like experiment while I've been down here of, hey, what am I just being called to right in this moment and let it flow? And since I've been down here, I've had these like 2 random breathwork sessions out of nowhere. One was like in this girl's apartment. One of my friends has this girl and we're over there and it's just like broke into this breathwork session. And then today in the park out by Icon, I have all these dudes like just loaded up in a half circle, and one of them's on the floor like got the tetany going on. He's seen his pineal glands opening. He's seen the eyes come in. Talking about like Gabriel and all that stuff, or is it Ezekiel?
Book of Ezekiel.
You have Ezekiel.
For those in the context, the book of Ezekiel, he describes angels as having eyes. So whenever you see eyes in mystical transcendental moments, it says you're surrounded by angels.
Greg, that's for you, bro.
There you go. Actually, I kid you not. One of my great, I call it. She's in my past life for sure. She's my sister or something. We energetically killed it, and she was telling me how she was doing a walking meditation. I was with her before the meditation, and then I met her up afterwards, and she's like, "Yeah, I literally looked at the cloud and I saw the eye, and then the walking meditation was like align your heart with your brain, right? So she sees like this cloud under, and she's like, oh, she starts like moving on the beach to like align it, and once she aligns it, the cloud opened up its eye, and she was like, whoa, and she kind of like got taken back, but then the eye was like, I see you. And she's like, it was the first time I felt seen, and then out of nowhere, all these eyes just surrounded her, all on the beach. And she's like, but most people probably be scared if that happened, but I never felt so seen and loved. And I truly felt like I am the center of the universe. And I go to her and I go, like as she's talking, I go to Twitter. I'm like, Ezekiel eyes. And I pull up this video that I saw that I knew like she needed to see after this. And I go, I just want you to just watch this video. And it says how everyone thinks angels look, and it shows like little angels.
I know you're talking
and
about.
then it goes how Ezekiel describes them, and you just see AI generated eye videos, and I'm like, you are surrounded by angels.
Wow.
Jeez. It's like people don't like, it's so messed up. This world is conditioned to tell you that you're not special, you're insignificant, you came from apes, you're born to work and then die. They hop you up on drugs, put you into the system, and just feed you into this perpetual cycle of sickness and poison, and just that's it. And then they give you aluminum so that they give you fluoride, obvious reasons. And it's just like, no, you're insignificant, and when you die you go to heaven or hell. That's it. There's
I was talking to this guy today, and he's very high level entrepreneur, extremely. Had an exit, like amazing. He's in the void right now, and he's one of those guys who just cannot do nothing.
Yeah.
Like has to be doing something. Otherwise it's like pure anxiety or like procrastination, like all those things.
Yeah.
And so, he's just like not able to focus. He puts things off to the last minute. One, he's not connected to himself and what he actually wants, but he doesn't want to see it. And so it's like, being prescribed Adderall, I'm like, stop. Get off.
It gets you in a high beta brainwaves. What people don't realize, that puts your body into a survival state. Yeah. And if you're in high beta brainwaves through these stimulants, these coffees, like you're gonna be in a survival state. So you're not in a creative state.
Yeah.
But you're in a creative state. That's when you start getting flow. That's when you start getting the divine connection. Like a simple way to get out of high beta: close your eyes, kill all the senses, and you move into that alpha. But when you move even deeper into a state of relaxation, you go into theta. Your analytical mind moves out of the way, that ego, and you go straight into the subconscious, and you shift your paradigms. So.
It's like meditation, like right when you wake up.
Meditation over medication.
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying though. I was like, yo, dude, the Adderall is this like false peace
I know.
and focus where it's like the gift you're being given of feeling out of control is what you need. Maybe that's what you need to feel.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to sit there and not do anything and just lay there and be like,
Think.
not even, just like feel it coming through you and be like a vegetable. Like allow yourself to experience that, you know, because it's like you're trying to awaken to the next level of yourself at a deeper level, but you're clinging on to who you've been, and it's like what got you here isn't going to get you there. You know, and that's like what I just know it because I've been doing this.
Yeah,
it's what has moved me into this. I was literally, bro, I was hating life like a month and a half ago, believe it or not. Seriously,
did not expect that.
I was going through a lot like a lot of just switches up and things coming out of nowhere. It felt like, and I was like, yo, am I dying right now? It was that intense. I had a higher understanding of what was happening, but I feel like right now I'm at this level of like freedom and unattachment that is so pure and clean, and things are just like happening, bro.
Yeah.
Happening. And I'm not even, it's not like I'm clinging to them when they come in. It's just like, yeah, that sounds cool. You know, I'm going to feel it out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to sit into it. And if it sounds cool, you know, it's like, there's no ego involved with it.
No, it's love, man. I know. It's like things just start happening to you. It all is in the unknown. Like things are happening that I could have not foreseen in 100 years. Like I told this guy, like I shot a random idea in the dark. He calls me. He's like, I want to give you $150,000 to do that idea. I'm like, dude, I was just kind of joking. But when he started saying the idea back to me, I'm like, kind of a great idea. Like it
Bro,
changed
the
things.
most like off the cuff things, like random, are the usually like, that's intuition.
I know.
It's like you look at Elon, bro, and like that one tequila with the lightning, or like these flamethrowers. It's like they were amazing marketing.
The Boring Company, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so random.
Yeah, but I mean, with those, like, you know, I mean,
well, you know,
like no, but that is what is another alcohol brand going to do for the world?
But
I think I'll tell you, the alcohol industry. Do not invest in the alcohol industry right now.
I agree, but here's my point: is like, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that state of flow.
Yeah.
Of greatness coming through you.
Well, like when I say these things, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like you're able to be like, oh, I remember those things.
Of course.
You know, so it's like they were good ideas because they put an idea in your head that stuck. You're stuck.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it's like
stuck. It's stuck in your head.
And at the end of the day, we're here to create.
Yeah.
Right.
To what create?
We're here to create.
Yeah.
Right. But our ego's here to destroy. So it's a balance of being in spirit or in ego.
Do you think it's to destroy or to keep you safe?
You think your ego's here to keep you safe?
In its own fucked up way.
Yeah, so then why did my ego tell me to kill myself every day for a whole entire summer?
Was it your ego?
It was. It was a voice that was rolling rampant in my head. You should kill yourself. No one cares about you. And I could tell you, a lot of people deal with that same thing. And like mental health, especially for men, completely unchecked. Nobody gives a shit about how men feel. To the point that I had a video. I remember leaving the office. I went next door to a Monty's and I filmed myself. I'm like, in tears. I'm like, I don't know why I'm in tears. I can't even explain this. And my business partner walks over and I'm like, bro, look at this video. And he's like, dude, what? He's like, I get it. Like, I never understood depression. And I was telling him, I'm like, I think I'm depressed because I couldn't understand it. And like, this is the state of a lot of people, a lot of men. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And people don't realize that.
I want to share a perspective with you. Just maybe sit on it.
Go for it.
It kind of just came to me. I feel the ego is actually inherently neutral because it's just a lens of perception. Like, without the ego, we couldn't even be human. So it's like, if we get insights that are positive and lead us in a positive direction, and we call that God, then there's got to be a deeper I don't think the ego is the extreme into the negative. I think it's the lens it could come through.
So I do believe that. So we start with this convergence of the mind.
I would call it Satan personally, but there's a name for it, you know.
So I think there's this convergence of your mind where you believe you're your thoughts, or you're tied to your ego.
Yeah.
And then there's the divergence where you observe your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then you finally reach this final convergence where you merge and your ego serves you, which is your analytical mind, I like to say. I remember seeing back, like I had this apartment in Brickell with this girl that, you know, she was my best friend at the time. It was awesome. I was like, finally, I'm in Brickell. I'm in the heart of the city, and everything was going right for me. My business was good. Everything was good. I just got this apartment, and I remember walking through, I kid you not, to a 7-Eleven through Brickell, and this homeless guy. I had my headphone, my AirPods. This homeless guy. This was a crazy. I never told this story. I can't believe I'm saying it. The homeless guy goes, "Yo, man, you okay?" And I'm like this like homeless guy asking for my whatever. And I'm like, you know what? And he's walking. "Yo, what'd you say?" He goes, "I just want to know if you're okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" He goes, "Because I'm homeless and I'm fucked up, but you look way more fucked up." And I was like, damn, I was a reality check.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm good. I put my headphones on and I'm like analyzing. I'm like, why am I sad and depressed? Like what's going on right now?
Dude, that's crazy.
Crazy. But then
Bro is coming out of left field.
But I felt like that is somewhat what that depression is. That it wasn't supposed to be. I ended up, moving. Her friend ended up saying like, "Hey, my lease is coming out. Like, you mind if I stay there for a month?" I'm like, "Yo, just take all the furniture, move in." Cool. She moved in and she was happy. They still live with each other. Awesome stuff. But like, I wasn't supposed to be there. That wasn't my divine calling. It wasn't my path. And I felt like that depression is saying like, you're not supposed to be doing this. You hate your fucking job. You're depressed at your job. You're not supposed to be pushing buttons for some corporate company that treats you like a drone.
Yeah.
That's where I do agree with you. But it's still, you can't discredit it. That for most people, that voice in their head is not their ally.
Oh,
but in reality, that negative stuff that they're doing, and they're trying to push them out of it. They're trying to make that situation so uncomfortable that you're just like, I need to move with Bali. Like, I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And then when you switch the environment, you're like, oh, wow, I'm a lot happier. So I wasn't. Yeah. It was America. Like it's the things they say each other. But
yeah.
So I do agree with you that it is there to serve you, because the ego's there. I wouldn't necessarily say to kill, because if you die, it dies with you.
Yeah.
But
I saw that like in ayahuasca. It's like it knows that it doesn't exist, so it does everything to keep you from facing it.
Right.
I channeled that one, bro. There was no mind.
Brother,
that.
You've been channeling the whole time.
Yeah.
We're all channelers. That's the wild thing. We're all channelers, but the thing is that ego, that body.
We're all prophets, yeah.
Yeah. But that body comes in, and the body comes in and speaks, and the ego's like, I know better than the divine who's speaking through you.
That homeless guy was a messenger for you, bro. That's like,
it was.
He did the biggest favor for you more than anyone who had resources could have.
Oh, crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because if I still stayed there, my last year has been the most incredible. And on paper, I'm still in the trenches. I ain't out the mud yet.
Yeah.
But this has been the greatest year of my life.
That's awesome.
And like, I'm not, and people are like, "Oh, so what? Did you make a ton of money?" I'm like, I lost 70% of my business in the last 6 months.
Yeah, dude. Like mine was like going to shit for a bit.
I mean,
it's like, I feel good though.
It's time. It's like, it's so crazy because you said it's like the world, like there's a lot of chaos going in, but like the ones that are super tapped in, I smile at it.
Equanimity. It means okay. Bring out my Webster.
Yeah, let's go, Mr.
It's
Vernacular.
It's being at peace within, no matter how much chaos is going on the outside.
Okay. Yeah. So equanimity. The thing is that I just know that this world.
Someone's back. That's not the definition.
Oh, shut up.
It's okay.
Comment section about to pop off on you, kid. But we see we see the dissonance happening with the Middle East, the Europe, what's happening even in the United States with all this stuff. There's a lot of dissonance, a lot of frictions. And I say it leads to two things: revolution or evolution.
Yeah.
But this is the sine wave. This is the contraction that follows what happens after contraction, expansion.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful because the whole universe is looking at us. We are right now at the center of the universe because I know it's crazy, of what is about to happen. And like, we are, as humans and beings, we're about to get a crazy biological upgrade, a technological upgrade. What's going to happen in the next few years with technology? As much as people want to be scared about AI, I'm like, this fear mongering.
Bro, I've coded so many GPTs for my team.
It's like, it's here to serve us.
It's amazing.
They're like, oh, what happens when it tries to kill us? And it's like, it understands that we are part of humanity and society. It's not going to, it's like, it sees us part of the system. It's not going to be like, okay, cool, destroy the thing that this whole system is actually kind of, surrounded by.
Yeah. You have to have the intent to make it serve you, you know? Like, it's got to be the intent.
Yeah. But the thing is, at the same time, on the business end, like, don't use it as a crutch. So many people, you're not injured, you don't have leg injuries, and yet you're using a crutch, and then your leg becomes dependent on it. And when you stop using the crutch, you end up messed up leg.
Facts.
You know?
Yeah.
And the problem is, so many people are dependent on this AI stuff, and it's like,
it knows me fully, bro, and I still like. I'm like, yeah, I can't come to this thing for advice all the time because I gotta have my own ability to think on myself.
Oh yeah.
You know,
rationalize things, and
yeah.
Right now I use it for kind of brainstorming and ideation.
Yeah.
But beyond that, all the answers are within.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so wild, because if you truly have something you want to think about, pause and meditate, and you'll get the answer. I want to give you actually a little gem. I know you're gonna like this. Have you heard of? They've called it muscle testing, but have you heard of the human pendulum? Oh, my brother. Oh, my brother. So what you do is
enlighten me, bro.
Yeah, what you do is you take your shoes off, which obviously our shoes are off because we're grounded here. And when
is this where you stand? And it's like a yes or no.
Oh, you do know it.
Yeah.
Did I tell you this?
It just came to me. I don't know. I've seen it, but
this guy's channeling.
It seems like a name for it.
Yeah, I call it the human pendulum, where you treat your body as a pendulum.
So that's not the name of it?
I don't know. Somebody just told me
we're
this.
just connected.
Yeah, someone told me this, and like I did it, and I'm like, oh my god, like you're using the intelligence of your subconscious. So I'm gonna just give context for the people that are listening if they want to know about it. You ground yourself. You go to each chakra, put energy, breathe into each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you ask yourself 2 yes questions. My name is Joe, and you stand, and you'll feel your body pull forward. I'm in Miami. Your body will pull forward, and then you say no questions, like, I'm a girl, and then it'll go back. Because you pull away from things like a no.
Yeah.
And then I say, like, I'm in Amsterdam, and then you do no.
Yeah.
And then from there, you ask it questions, and ask your subconscious, and your subconscious is way more intelligent than your conscious mind.
Yeah.
And it starts, and it even connects to the higher intelligence. And I've seen two people ask their subconscious questions and like their greater intelligence about their past lives, and like there's no way they could have gotten that answer right in the same room, like unless they text each other. And I'm like, they wouldn't have done that.
We know on the, like, even our interaction we just had there.
Yeah.
Like the pendulum thing, I actually saw like an image intuitively come up of it just came out in the ether. Just like of me just going like this, and it was like, whether it was the past from a conversation, I don't know, or it just like comes out of nowhere through connecting to your frequency. It's like, until you actually you can train your intuition, through catching that awareness of being like, yo, even for me just now, I'm like, where did that come from? Now that I have awareness of like, hey, that just actually popped up and I saw it, that was my intuition. Now it's going to strengthen.
Oh, of course.
So now muscle. It's going to like expand now rapidly, because I'm going to be able to catch this pattern again. And it's like, that's what you have to do to expand. That's why I've learned.
It's really observing. It's funny because when you said like, oh, you need to like, the guy that you're like, oh, he has all these thoughts, Adderall, all this, and like, and I said think, and you're like, no, it's more the emotions and feel. But when I said think, I'm like, think by observing your thoughts and just seeing like what you just did. You just observed, and you're like, oh, there's something.
We're on the same. I was about to say this.
Yeah. And you're just observing it, and you're aware of it, and it's crazy because it's like cars on a highway, and the cars are flying by the highway, and you're observing the highway. More cars are passing by. Don't chase the car. Observe the thoughts and let it go. Eventually, you'll see that the highway has less cars, and when it has less cars, then when it just has one car, you're like, okay, this is the one I want to follow. And like, you're just so tapped in, and you're getting feeded this profound wisdom that's just given to you by the cosmos, and it's so it's wild. Like
you can't put it into like a mental thing to comprehend it, because
you have to use metaphor. Yeah, you have to use metaphors to explain this. So.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, I feel like I'm in literally like soul gazing trance trip.
Right into your soul, brother.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, man. Yeah. I'm like, this is just like I feel so much joy being here with you.
It's fun. Well, it's. I don't want to say it's rare, because it's possible.
Yeah.
But like, when you connect with someone on that like understanding level, it's just like,
brother, I mean,
my boy.
But I said it. I said it when you're with a significant partner, and even those people that you're in love, like, it's a love state, brother. We just said I love you. Like, it's just a fact, and like, we're both on the same wavelength, and there's this telepathy that's happening between us, that it is a natural, ebb and flow that happens between us. And I mean, it happens far too often. Every time.
Bro, this is gonna be your best podcast episode.
I might just make it the Joe and Mason show, and we just keep doing this.
I would be down to do some more, bro.
Hey,
But
man.
it's like, the thing is you were talking about the direction the universe is going in. And it's like us having this conversation is going to propel it even more. But it's like, for me, like, that's why I've been helping people just look at themselves, because you are the universe. It's like, you got to look at yourself, to see the truth.
You inverse.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
Man. Oh. I know. I want to keep rolling with this, but
I know.
I think this is a great place.
Yeah, we don't have to force anything.
To put a beautiful bow on it.
Yeah.
Mason Kuhr, my brother in arms.
Thank you, bro.
Tell the world where they can find you.
At Mason Kuhr, MasonKuhr everywhere. Hit me up, DMs, talk to you. Call me Papa Gaines when you say what's up. I'll like you even more. You check out my brand, thestampednetwork.com. I got some other projects coming too. You want to meet up in person, check out my Awakening Expeditions. I can't really put into words what it is, but it's a very authentic retreat experience that will help you embody your authentic nature, know yourself, and find the path to God. So you want to do any of those things? Hit your boy up.
Oh, man. And if you have just anything for the 30,000 plus furlough members, entrepreneurs, professionals, conscious beings, brothers and sisters.
Congrats, one.
Haha.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but what do you have to say to them? To leave them in one thing.
You don't have to find anything.
That's it. That's it. If you don't get it, it's a parable.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say. I mean, that's a deep one. I'd say, that is good, but it does take some. Meditation on it.
What?
Yeah.
What? It's gonna find you, my friend.
Yeah. That's right. When you live your life aligned to truth, like above all, like what you deeply, deeply know is true, not what you think you should think is true, or what your emotions are telling you is true, but like what your soul actually knows is true, and a deeper level. When you live aligned to that, you can have whatever, and you'll be whoever you actually know you are. Like there's nothing to get. You already got it all, my friends. Yeah, you chilling.
I love it. Speak your truth, be your truth.
Yeah.
Love yourself.
Truth is the answer. Everything else is a lie.
Amen.
There you go.
Mason Kuhr, brother. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching this far. Leave some comments. If you guys want them back, of course. If you could ask any questions to him, I want to get in the comments. I'll make sure any of those, I'll forward it to him so he responds to you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe and join the Furlough community at discord.gg/furlough. Link, check out the description. And, of course, see you at the next one.